The message today comes from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 10. If you have your Bibles, you can go along with us and read God's Word and apply it to our hearts. Beginning with verse 1, it says, After the Lord appointed 72 and sent them 2 by 2 ahead of him into every town and place where he was about to go, he told them, The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send out workers into his harvest field. Go, I am sending you out like lambs among wolves. Do not take a purse or a bag or sandals, and do not greet anyone on the road. When you enter a house, first say peace to this house. If a man of peace is there, your peace will rest on him. If not, it will return to you. Stay in that house and eating and drinking whatever that they give you. For the worker deserves his wages. Do not move around from house to house. When you enter a town and are welcome, eat what is set before you. Heal the sick who are there and tell them the kingdom of God is near you. But when you enter a town and are not welcome, go out into the streets and say, Even the dust of your town that sticks to our feet, we wipe off against you. Yet be sure of this, the kingdom of God is near. I tell you, it will be more bearable on the day for Sodom than for that town. Woe to you, Chorazin! Woe to you, Bethsaida! For if the miracles that were performed in you had been performed in Tyre and Sidon, they would have repented long ago, sitting in sackcloth and ashes. But it will be more bearable for Tyre and Sidon at the judgment than for you. And you, Capernaum, will you be lifted up to the skies? No, you will go down to the depths. He who listens to you listens to me. And he who rejects you rejects me. But he who rejects me rejects him who sent me. 72 returned with joy and said, Lord, even the demons submit to us in your name. And he replied, I saw Satan fall like lightning in heaven. I have given you authority to trample on snakes and scorpions, and to overcome all the power of the enemy. Nothing will harm you. However, do not rejoice that the spirits submit to you, but rejoice that your names are written in heaven. This is the word of God for the people of God.
Thanks be to God.
You and lengthy scripture lesson this morning, but it's one that's very relevant to our lives today. I think about, and I was thinking this morning as I drove out to the worship on the water, and you know, I just already hit them with a really scalding message about how that we're just not getting the job done as Christians today. And of course, then we're having to go get extra chairs and put them up. We almost have 100 people out there in service today, and we were so tickled. People brought hot Krispy Kreme donuts. God was good. The world was good. that those that are gathering in Jesus' name are doing some incredible things. Those that are part of the kingdom, that are building the kingdom, those that are working hard for the Lord, we're showing such great promise. And I'm proud to be a part of that. I'm proud to be a shepherd that leads those in that. And I know that we need to get the job done. There's a lot to be done. As the scripture says, the harvest is plentiful. It's white. I don't know if they were gathering cotton back then or what. They said the fields were ripe. The fields were white, it said, and ready for harvest. And you know, it still isn't. Glory to God, there are people that have been planting seeds everywhere. Seeds of love, seeds of transformation, seeds of grace, and seeds of glory. It's time for the rest of us to get busy with them and bring in the harvest. We need to celebrate the harvest. We need to bring in the first fruits. We need to begin to see the promising things that God can do, and that He is doing, and that He will do. It's easy for us to get discouraged in a world that is so polarized. Our politics are polarizing us and separating us. Our races are fighting and bickering upon each other. There's racism that's rampant. There's hatred that's disputing out of the mouths of people. Instead of looking and seeing that possibly that good people are doing bad things, instead now it's easy for us to say that bad people are doing things. And that leads us into the conflict. That leads us into an opportunity where we miss the glory of God. And I think about the work that needs to be done, and I can't think about a greater time in history to see a group of people that got the job done than in our greatest generation. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about those that fought in a great war. I'm talking about those that sacrificed. I'm talking about those that were called upon in a tender early age in life. Many of them volunteered before they were even 16 and 17 years old to go to war. They were ready in World War II to go and fight the enemy that was so strong and so well organized. And it was there that, just like David was a young lad. Nobody thought he could do anything. And this generation stood up and said, I will not allow the enemy to encroach upon our land. Now, it wasn't always the best of times for that generation. I mean, I know that it was tough in the early days when they were in boot camp. I know it was tough when they were trying to learn how to fight the enemy, how to organize better, how to use the gifts and the talents of each other around you. And I know it was tough as they were finding themselves at odds against each other. You know, the first day you're in boot camp, the first time that you're gathered together, you're there with people that are strange to you. And some of them would get into fights because they still held some harboring animosity against Yankees, and some held some animosity against the Southerners, and so they would fight each other, pick at each other. And some, because of the color of their skin, they didn't want to be around them. And it was awful, and there was some things that happened. But, you know, I think about what happened before one of the greatest battles, when they were dug in, and they were in foxholes with their partners. And it was there that they committed themselves that night. Sometimes in the rain, sometimes in horrible conditions, sometimes with such fear that they had to overcome that night just to be able to fight the next day. And it was there that they committed themselves to each other. That you're my buddy. You're my buddy, and I'm going to make sure that you get home to your loved ones. You're my buddy, and I'm going to make sure that you are successful in everything that you've been asked to do. And they depended upon them to help them get through the night, to get through the battle, to make sure that they got home to their loved ones. And they did what was asked of them. It was a generation that gave so valiantly, that was so willing to give their all for they would never won any of those great battles if they didn't have such a servant's heart. And I think about them and what they mean to the fabric, the very core of our country today. And maybe we're not the greatest generation. Maybe that's falling away so fast as many of them are going on to glory. Many of them are being buried day by day. Many of them are finishing up their race in their last days here upon this earth. But I just happen to believe that God wants to raise a new generation of believers. A new generation that will rise to the level to fight for the freedom for this country. And instead of spitting on the flags and burning the flags and still trampling on that, instead they would look and find in their neighbor, they would find in those that they find themselves in arms, that they would join together and they would fight all the things that separate us today, whether it be our politics or our past. I think that God is teaching us that we've got to get the job done. And He's still sending us out to do the work of the kingdom. He's still sending us out. And I think the reason why He sent them out 2 by 2 is so that they can focus on each other and begin to support and love each other. It's easier to focus upon one person in life. And once you focus upon that person, then both of you can focus on what's most important, and that is our Savior, Jesus Christ. For He gave a great example of sacrifice. He gave a great example by coming and being sent here and had the skin of humanity stretched upon Him. And He became a living example of the glory of God and the will of God. Because He sent His Son Jesus to die on the cross. He was spat upon. He was humiliated. He was beaten. He suffered all the wounds that could possibly suffer. Still in the end, He did what He saw. He said, "My Father's will be done, not mine." And I think about that, and I think about how that it was at this moment that those disciples came together and they were able to do the work. And what they found out when they came back, they began to say, "You wouldn't believe it! It was awesome! It was powerful! We went out and even the enemy fled from us. Even the spirits bowed down to the name of Jesus." Isn't that amazing? That they could rebuke the enemy in the name of Jesus and they would flee from Him. And think about, they came and they said, "We were able to heal. Those without sight saw. Those without the ability to walk began to leap and to run. Those that had things that separated them from us, that were disgusting. The leprosy. It was there that Jesus brought them together and bound them together in love. They were able to touch even the despicable, even that which was unclean, they made clean. So they came back and Jesus admonished them and said, do not think highly of yourselves. Do not celebrate this today, of your power, but instead be grateful and thankful that your name is written in the Lamb's Book of Life. That your name is written for all eternity. That your name is written there. And it's written in blood, and it's probably Jesus' blood. It's written there because of the sacrifice that He made. It's written there because of the will of His Father in heaven who sent Him. And those that accept Him and embrace Him shall be transformed. In order for us to get the job done, we must see our enemy. Not so that we can destroy them, but instead that we can embrace them. Today, this generation is being raised up for a different purpose. Not to be at arms, but instead to embrace with arms. It is this time, in this place, that God is calling us together to be great again, to be empowered by His Spirit to go forth and to bring in a great harvest into the house of the Lord. we first have to see them with eyes of Christ. You see, that's what's the problem today. We fail to see the people for who they really are and for what God can create in them. Oh, we can demonize them, and we can put them down, and we can say that it's a lost cause. But Christ wants you to look at them with His eyes, to see what He sees, to see the hope in them, to see love in them. Instead of just being disgusted by them, instead of seeing them as the enemy that you must destroy, instead that you can go and embrace them with loving arms, that you can embrace them in such a way that it transforms them and gives them hope to bring them into the house of the Lord for the harvest, so that their names can be placed in the Lamb's Book of Life. And suddenly, one day you can look around and those people that once offended you, those people that once antagonized you, those people that once wanted to harm you and destroy you, now they're brothers and sisters in Christ. Now they're people that have been empowered by the Holy Spirit. That together the battle can be won. Together, victory comes. This great generation that turns their hearts to Jesus. Think about, in order to get the job done, we have to first see like Jesus sees in our enemies and in those around us, so that we can make a difference in their lives, so that we can love them and nurture them and embrace them and draw them into the house of the Lord. But then we need to see something different. We need to see the opportunities that are before us. Those of you know, I grew up north of Birmingham in North Alabama, and it was there that I grew up. And one of the first things that I wanted to do was the first job that I was ever given in our family was to use the lawnmower. And I couldn't wait to the day that I was big enough, tall enough, strong enough that I could push that lawnmower. And this morning I confess that I'm not like Ashley, who's from my same community. I'm not like Ashley. He still likes to do it. I got over it. Okay? But I couldn't wait to push that lawnmower. And I was out there in that field. We had a big field, and I was that knee-high grass, and I was getting out there and getting with it and cutting all the grass. And next thing you know, there's a fire. There's a fire. I mean, have y'all ever had that happen to you? Have you ever been cutting grass and all of a sudden an explosion happens and you got a torch in the center of your yard? Well, if you've been raised in Gymtown, Alabama, I can tell you what that's at. You have to figure it out. If you've ever been born in Gymtown, Alabama, like I had, then what happens is you'll see these little torches all over town. Because people get out and cut the grass and the sparks from the lawnmowers will set that fire. And everybody's frustrated by it. So everybody's trying to do something. Everybody's trying to stop it. So they come together and they get as much money as they can and resources as they can, and they dump concrete and poisons down into the earth to the point where nothing will even grow anymore. They're trying to plug up holes where that gas comes up out of the ground. It's methane gas. And so for years the community was just bemoaning the fact that they had methane gas coming up because of the elders of the community long ago had undermined the community. And now methane gas is bubbling up. Well, I don't know a whole lot about this subject, so it's got to be the Holy Ghost that's telling me all about it. So here we go. They go to the people in the community, and some of those people were former miners. Some of those people were people that knew all about the gas that's formed down in those mines, and they knew that if you would sink a large hole into the earth, and if you would do this and get it in a central place, that it would draw the gas into one central vein, and then you could bring it up, and you could have it on a tower, and you could set it afire. Okay, and it would burn off safely. You wouldn't have these little explosions all over town every so often. It was there that they were given this knowledge, this wisdom from those that lived amongst them, that they were able to live in peace. But it went further than that. You see, some of those people knew a little more about that than gas. And they knew about how to harness it and be able to get power out of it. And they were able to do some neat things with it and use that as a resource. And so, Lord, behold, today, the number one thing that brings money into that municipality is that they take and sell that methane gas today. And it provides for the roads, and it provides for the schools, and it provides for the goodness of the community. You see, instead of finding fault with people, instead of becoming offended with people, when you have the eyes of Jesus, you can see the hope. And you can see the goodness and the wisdom in people. And you can learn from them. And you can see opportunities, and you can seize the day. You see, up in Pittsburgh, it was up there that they had a horrible thing that was happening, that this oil slime was going down into their gardens, and it was destroying the crops. And it was poisoning the water. And now, today in Pennsylvania, they were able to drill for oil and get the oil that was coming up out of the ground in excess at different seasons. And now, year-round, they're able to pump oil up out of there. And they pump as much oil outside of Texas as any other state. What was destroyed in them? Because the wisdom and the goodness of the people that had once offended them and once had caused great grief. Now they are being blessed. So I say to you that you need to see the goodness through the eyes of Christ. And then you need to see the gifts and the talents in people. And you need to embrace it and know that it is from God, because God is blessing each and every one of us here today for the harvest. And He's sending us out again today and tomorrow and the next day, because the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. And He's putting us together so that we can go out 2 by 2 and do the work of the kingdom, because it's there that the wisdom will come. It's there that the gifts and the talents will provide. And whatever the need is, we are prayerful, and we are loving, and we are supportive. The Lord is there. I can sit and tell you the lambasted about how we make mistakes and put people down and talk behind and stab them back. I just sit here and give you a whole other sermon about how that we're wicked and we're selfish. All I have to do is to tell you that God has a plan for us to do something even greater than He did when He walked upon this earth. Can you believe that? If you know the Bible, you believe it. If you trust the Bible, you trust the truth of Jesus Christ, His words, then you'll know that He says that I will empower you to do even greater things than I have done. And so that means He's still sending us out today. He's still sending us out to do great things. And He's still gathering us together. And if we use the wisdom of each other, and every one of us has a gift and a talent that we can contribute, so that if we come together, the more that we come together, the more that we yield to the power of the Holy Spirit, the more that we trust and believe in Him, that we will go out into the highways and the byways of this area, and we will bring in a harvest of people that will one day become our brothers and sisters and heirs to the throne of the kingdom of heaven. And it's time that we stop living defeated and mad and angry and polarized against each other. Instead, we need to be joyful and hopeful, and we need to walk in the victory of God. And if we will have just a little bit of faith in the Word says, then the mountains shall be moved. We need to take advantage. And finally, if we have a spirit of that which I have just gave witness to, then we will commit ourselves to that and nothing else. Glory to God, we will commit ourselves to that and I mean, with that, it is great. Because He's still pouring out that Spirit on us today. I don't have to carry the load anymore by myself. I don't have to worry, can it be done? I know that it can be done. I don't have to be the one. We just need to come together. We need to have a come to Jesus party today. And we need to go forward and do His will. Well, let's have that Jesus party today. Hallelujah. Let's pour it out. Let's prepare the table.